Justice Hunters is right around the corner, and today we're going to be covering every single deck that is going to be released in this set. We're talking Yummy, we're talking Canine, and of course we're talking Dracotail. And today I'm going to be showing you how to play these decks, how to combo, and of course how to build those decks. If you're interested in one specific deck, there's going to be timestamps below the video. And without further ado, let's begin with the yummiest of yummies. So let's start by going over the card by card and getting familiarized with all the new cards of this new archetype. This archetype is a light beast archetype that revolves around synchro summoning level 2 synchro monsters using anything but level 1 tuners. Basically, you can just use your Link 1s as level 1 tuners, and the synchros really do the rest. Starting off with the monsters, Cupsy will add you one yummy card or draw one card if summoned by a synchro monster. Cookie will reduce the attack of one monster on the field or destroy it if summoned by a synchro monster, and Lolly will shuffle back a card from your opponent's graveyard to the deck, or banish it if it was summoned by a synchro monster. Since you can just tag out with your synchros to summon back your spent yummy monsters from the grave, they all get additional effects that become interruptions on your opponent's turn. This deck also has two field spells. One of them, Minion, will gain your yummy monster's attack for each light beast you control, and summon back a yummy monster from the grave if you control a Link 1. And our Croaky will pop a card your opponent controls if you synchro summon a light beast, and summon any yummy monster from deck if one of your face-up monsters leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect. Both field spells can recycle themselves and two other yummy cards from your graveyard or banishment to let you use them again on the follow-up turn. The main pillar of the deck is the Link 1, of course, and Yummy Snatchy will place one yummy field spell from your deck or hand face up on the field, and most importantly, once per chain. During the main phase or your opponent's battle phase, will synchro summon using any monster you control, including a yummy monster. All synchro monsters have the incredible effect where they can use one Link 1 monster you control as a level 1 tuner, so essentially this archetype doesn't have any tuners on field. In addition, once per turn, they can all shuffle themselves into the extra deck as cost to summon back two yummy monsters. So essentially the loop is a synchro monster tagging out to the Link 1 and another yummy monster, using that effect, synchro summoning again using the Link 1, summoning another level 2 synchro, and doing that resource loop 3 times, when hopefully that will just stop your opponent from playing. The Copsy synchro on summon will add you 2 yummy cards and discard a card. The Lolly synchro will summon back 2 additional yummy monsters from the graveyard on summon negated, and the Cookie synchro will Book of Moon up to 2 monsters on the field on summon. Additional tech cards you can use are Sangan, which will allow you to turn into an Almirage, search for another yummy card and special summon it without using any effect, because Sangan prevents it. But then, that Almirage and one yummy monster will allow you to access your Synchro 2 to add 2 additional yummy cards and actually play the game. Same goes for Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Out of all cards, it's also a 1-card combo, allowing you to summon a token using Hornet Drones, turn it into Kagari, return and activate the drones once again, and synchro summon, rather unbelievably, into one of your yummy synchros using that token and the Kagari. Pretty crazy. One tech that I've been testing is Link Into the Vrains that can also help you quite a bit, allowing you to link one directly from your hand without the opponent getting a chance to interrupt the field spell placement with Snatchy. Marshall Metal Marcher and the newly released Star Ham are both generic synchro 3s which you can make using your yummy synchro plus one yummy card, and can both summon an additional yummy from the graveyard. Metal Marcher is already a tuner which you can use alongside one of your level 1 yummy monsters which are non-tuners to make Herald of the Arclight. And Star Ham revives the yummy monster as a tuner, so again equating to another Herald of the Arclight, which is exactly why this card was printed in the first place. Some other techs like Relinquished Anima and Link Spider can help you convert your hand traps or even an Nibiru token into a Link 1 which you can use to climb up to your powerful synchros. So again, the deck itself doesn't necessarily matter and can change based on the format, but in terms of the engine, this deck is extremely consistent, especially when you're playing cards like Droll that can turn into an Anima, or of course Sangan. Now, let's look at some combos. So both combos play really well into Nibiru because you search for the quick play spell that can revive a monster from the graveyard. So again, we're going for the Sangan combo that I mentioned, turning it into an Almirage, and then searching for basically not Cupsy out of all things because you want to activate the Cupsy effect. But then you can just turn these two into a synchro. You can add 2, discard an additional card from the hand, and then now because you control a synchro 2, you can continue playing. Cupsy can add you Yummy Surprise, which we don't see on the screen here, but essentially, if you do get nibbed during this combo, you can just special summon another Yummy from grave, turn the token into a Link Spider, and just continue playing. Now, we can turn this into a Snatchy, which can then place us a field spell go ahead, make a Metal Marcher, use the other card in hand to make the Herald of the Arclight, and then possibly use SP Little Knight again. We can also use Yummy Surprise during the opponent's turn to summon back one of our Synchro monsters from the grave, which can then summon back Snatchy and another Yummy to just combo during your opponent's turn and tag into multiple Synchro monsters. And when it comes to Sky Striker, this is basically very, very similar. You use Hornet Drones to make a Kagari. Kagari bring back the Hornet Drones and use it to summon an additional token. Then again, you can use these two to make Cupsy, Yummy Way, discarding 2, adding 2 Yummy cards. Sorry, discarding 1, of course. Going ahead and searching for Yummy Surprise once again, turning it into a Link 1, which will get you the Field Spell, which can summon back, make a Metal Marcher, summon back the Yummy, and of course make a Herald, SPL Knight, and Yummy Surprise to go ahead and summon back another Yummy from grave. So this was Yummy, definitely extremely exciting, but now, for the engine everybody's already prepared for, it's K9. Woof! So this card you see above me is pretty much a staple in every single deck because its effect is so powerful and the payoff is amazing. And of course, being a hand trap during your opponent's turn that can actually cause several layers of interruption, it's pretty much a staple right now. So let's dive into the card by card and get to know everything you need to know about K9, starting with this card, K9 Izuna. So K9 Izuna is again the love child of Tearlaments Havness and Rhino Heart combined into one card. It can special summon itself if your opponent has activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard this turn. Then on summon, it can foolish any K9 card from your deck to your graveyard. And since it's a starter, sometimes, it can also normal summon itself if your opponent has 2 or more cards in hand. And that's something all the K9 monsters have in common. What you're usually going to drop from the deck is going to be K9 Lupus, which can summon itself from the hand or grave during the main phase if your opponent has activated a monster effect in the hand or grave this turn. And as a quick effect on the field, it can Xyz summon using it and any other monster and give that monster targeting and protection when it's a material. So connecting the dots, Izuna in your hand equals a rank 5 monster during your opponent's turn. That can also not be targeted, which is pretty good. K9 Yokel can special summon itself and another level 5 from hand, and on the field, add a non-Aqua K9 monster to the hand. And K9 Lantern can target a non-Pyro level 5 K9 in your graveyard and summon it and itself, then on the field, it can search any K9 spell or trap. Case of K9 is this deck's 10 key, a continuous spell which can add any K9 monster from deck to hand on activation. And K9 Liberation and K9 Forced Liberations are both quick play spell cards that use a K9 Xyz or rank 5 monster you control to summon a K9 Xyz with a different name on top of it. As for the extra deck, K9 Ripper, which is going to be the thing you probably climb into during your opponent's turn, can detach a card to add a K9 card from deck to hand. And if your opponent activated a monster effect this turn, set an additional K9 quick play from deck. Also, it can detach a material to negate a monster effect in the hand or grave once per turn as a quick effect. K9 Hound cannot be destroyed by battle. It gains 500 attack each time your opponent's monster effects resolves indefinitely, and during the standby phase, can detach to target a card on the field and banish it. This alongside Lupus's targeting production makes this boss monster pretty hard to out. And finally, K9's rank 9 is Werewolf, which can attack up to the number of materials attached to it, and when your opponent activates a card or effect, it can detach a material once per turn to either banish one card in your opponent's graveyard and or field if it was your turn, or if it's your opponent's turn, look at their hand and banish one card from it, which is something that we don't like to see. For additional tech cards, you can use Dizzablaster, the Negation Fortress, and Trickstar, Korobane, among many other free level 5s you can just special summon from the hand to get additional bodies. Chaotic Elements, a card released for Ashen Dentistina of all things, can add you a copy of Yokel and Lantern to get your combo started. 7th Tachyon can be very useful using cards like number C106 Giant Red Hand or number C104 Umbral Horror Masquerade, and can search Zuna, Yokel, and Lantern. And for some extra deck utility, Nash Knight, CXYZ Nash Knight, number 61 Volcasaurus, and the very popular Chronomany Vimana can give you that extra push in terms of generic extra deck interruption. So this is the deck. It's not, again, really being played as pure. It's mainly seeing play with Vanquish Soul right now, mainly because of the fact that you have earth attributes and dark attributes, which are just perfect for Vanquish. And of course, other level 5s like the new Vanquish Soul Holy Sue synergizes extremely well with this deck. But if you want to go pure, maybe you can also combine it with an engine that puts an Omni Negate before doing anything else. And this also works relatively well with Fiendsmith. So let's see some combos. So this deck doesn't really have a one card combo because you need additional level 5s, but essentially any level 5 with Yokel is really solid as well. We're going to summon both Yokel and Lantern to the field, grab Case of K9 and an additional Lantern, go into Ripper, detach to add Liberation, and then we can already go ahead and special summon the Lantern, summoning back the Yokel, making another monster negate, activating Case of K9, getting Izuna, normal summoning because our opponent has 2 more cards in their hand, and then we can get Lupus into the grave for an additional rank 5. And then using that rank 5, we can climb up once again to go into a Hound or a Werewolf, and that's in addition to our 2 monster negates and possibly another pop. And another really cool combo that I really liked is the fact that you can just access Theria and Regulus through this engine. I saw this on YouTube. I don't remember the exact name of the YouTuber, but definitely innovative. We're going to start off pretty much the same way. We just need a rank 5, putting the River Stormer into the extra monster zone to search Regulus. Gravity Controller puts in the grave, Regulus can then attach it from gate to get an Omni Negate, and then we can just make a Ripper. Ripper adds Liberation. We can go ahead and activate Case of K9 now. Add Izuna, we don't necessarily even have to normal summon it, we can just keep it in hand if we want, and then set Liberation as well. So yeah, this was K9, only pure because Vanquish Soul is a whole other deck, and of course the K9 engine is very strong on its own, but now to maybe my personal favorite, and of course we're fusion summoning, it's Dracotail. So you might see the word Dragontail, but the official name is actually Dracotail in the TCG, probably because Dragontail is already a kids show and I think Konami doesn't want to get sued again. Today we're going to be discussing this beautiful archetype that is mainly a fusion archetype that needs to have a lot of monsters in the main deck. And it's being played with branded, Shaddoll, tier elements, but today we're just going to be talking about the pure version that can really make a lot of mess on your opponent's turn. Starting off with 5 mana, and a little note that all Dracotail monsters have the same effect, where if they're used as fusion material, they can set any Dracotail spell or trap from the deck. So 5 mana can discard itself during the main phase to fusion summon a dragon or spellcaster from deck, using monsters from hand or field. Lucius can add any Dracotail card from deck to hand on summon, except for itself. Argula and Pan are both the dragons of the deck, and they also get an additional effect when they're sent to the graveyard to either destroy a monster on the field or a spell or trap, and can also shuffle themselves back into the deck from the graveyard to add or summon a spellcaster Dracotail or a non-fusion Dracotail, respectively. Lastly, Mueller is basically the Cartesia of the deck. It can fusion summon during the main phase using monsters from hand or field, and when sent to grave as a fusion material, can also negate a face-up monster's effect indefinitely. So Mueller and both of the dragons are basically supplementary to the engine, and you can use them as fusion material on your opponent's turn to get an additional interruption. Very similar to the Yami cards. Ketu Dragontail can add any Dracotail from the deck to the hand, then optionally fusion summon a dragon or a spellcaster if your opponent controls a monster. Rahu Dracotail is essentially branded fusion, but due to it summoning only Dracotail fusion monsters, you'll have to use at least one monster from the hand due to their requirements. For the traps, we have Dracotail Flame, which you can easily set with any of your Dracotails that can negate a face-up spell card, then optionally place a Dracotail from grave or banishment to the bottom of the deck in order to draw a card. And Dracotail Horn can bounce an attack position monster, then again draw a card with the same clause as Flame. For the fusions, we have Dracotail Altharion, which requires a Dracotail and 1 or more monsters from the hand. On summon, can return cards from the field or the grave to the hand, up to the monsters used from the hand in order to summon it, and that's on fusion summon. And Grammel, which can target and destroy 1 card on the field when you activate a Dracotail card or effect. Very similar to Lady Labyrinth. Both of the fusions can also summon themselves back from the graveyard, but banished when leave the field, if 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time. For example, example, when you fusion summon, when your opponent fusion summon, or even when your opponent link summons using 2 or more monsters. A package of King of the Swamp and Polymerization can be extra helpful as tech cards, especially when you can easily use it to summon Red Eyes Dark Dragoon using any of your Dragon-type Dracotails and King of the Swamp as Dark Magician. Mysterion the Dragon Crown, which has been a fan favorite, or at least my favorite in Branded, and the new support card Sacramentum Dragoon can also be extremely helpful in the extra deck, both requiring 1 dragon and 1 spellcaster and being very easy to access. Mysterion will banish all monsters of the same type from the field if a monster uses its effect to summon another monster of its own type. For example, when a Yummy Synchro monster tags out into 2 Yummy monsters. And of course, it only targets once, it doesn't target the other monsters, so it could be really powerful mass removal. And then Sacramentum Dragoon locks your opponent out of activated effects of special summoned dragons and spellcasters they control, and also can target a spellcaster and a dragon in your grave, summon one of them, and put the other at the bottom of the deck. And of course, our favorite Magnum the Reliever, making a comeback requiring monsters from hand as well, is always a great targeted destruction that you can use using your Dracotail cards. And this is a pretty standard pure version, maybe you play a little bit more Mueller, but the most important thing here is that this deck does need to play a lot of monster hand traps. Of course, you can also play this as an engine in other decks because being a Dark Monster, Mueller can be sent off of, for example, Branded Fusion, then set either Ketu Dragontail or Rahu Dragontail to get your Dragontail engine rolling. But with the pure version, you need a lot of monsters because you need to summon using monsters from the hand, which is absolutely fine because Konami have thought about that, and Altharion will bring back the hand traps you used from the grave to the hand during the combo, which we'll see in a second. So now that we know the card by card and the tech cards, let's talk about the combos. Check it out. So again, this deck also doesn't really have a 1-card combo because you need another monster to fuse from the hand. Of course, if you start off with a Luber or Branded Fusion, you can just then Mueller and then of course set the Dracotail Branded Fusion and start playing from there, but you'll need another monster in the hand still. So just starting off with probably the Lucius combo and another monster. We summon the Lucius, add 5 mana, and now 5 mana can discard itself and use your monster from the hand and the Dragontail monster to summon. Now you get both triggers to bring back 1 card from the graveyard because you used 1 from the hand, and then Lucius can set an additional card because he used it as fusion material. So we're going to set Rahu, and we're going to add back the 5 mana. We're going to go ahead and essentially Branded Fusion directly from the deck, but now we're going to get 2 additional triggers. So first of all, we get a targeted pop every time we activate a Dragontail card, and we get to set 2 additional cards from deck, which are going to be 2 additional interruptions and 2 draws. Now, at the end, we can just shuffle back the Arugula and bring back the 5 mana, and we have a pretty solid setup using only 1 card and, of course, an additional monster. So you will have an additional pop, a bounce, you'll have an additional spell removal, and 5 mana to go into any one of your fusions. Of course, if you have King of the Swamp in the hand, if you have other cards, you can just climb into bigger and bigger things. Another version that this deck is seeing is Magistus, because those cards are going to be just been announced, I think, in June in the new Battles of Legend. So you can just use Spoon in this combo in a second, which you'll see how. So Spoon can discard itself, add the new Crowley. Crowley can then Poplar itself onto the field, use itself to fusion summon a Magistus monster, and now we can go ahead and set, because we used Lucius. Now we can attach, add Spoon from deck to hand, and then use Rahu to set 2 additional cards, right? And we already have an interruption on the field. So we get these 2, and now we can go ahead, shuffle back, and now this is going to be what we have. So during the main phase, you can target 1 other face-up monster on the field, equip this card you control to it. If it's equipped, you take control of the monster. So it's an additional form of removal, and of course, this engine has a lot more interaction than just this card. So yeah, this is the sort of solid synergy between the two, and a lot of people are playing it together. So this has been Justice Hunters. Hopefully now you're a little bit more prepared. If you want to pick up the singles, make sure to check out tierzerogames.com/galzo5, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.